The Grey Knights are amongst the most formidable of all Space Marines and the most secretive. They are uniquely implanted with gene seeds derived directly from the Emperor himself. This grants them an inherent edge in purity, resilience, and psychic potential. They operate as a secretive elite demon-hunting force of the Ordo Malleus, the Chamber Militant, the Demon Hunters. As a result, they benefit from the Inquisition's near-limitless resources, with access to the finest wargear and technology. Their existence is also a well-kept secret, with only a few selected individuals of the Inquisition and high-ranking members of the Imperium knowing about their whereabouts or their existence. Well, with exceptions of the Dark Angels and the Space Wolves, who have, for other reasons, gotten to know about them. Other unfortunate ones, though, are either killed or mind-wiped, erased from memory. The selection process for these Grey Knight aspirants is also far more rigorous, as only psykers are considered to be eligible for induction. Thus, every Grey Knight is a psychic warrior fighting against chaos. Their training regimen is also the harshest in the Imperium. Even by Space Marine standards, it is more brutal, more unforgiving, and near impossible to survive. So those few who emerge out of it are not only physical and mentally indomitable, but also hone into some of the most skilled and disciplined warriors of the galaxy. Their origins can be traced back to the last stages of the Horus Heresy. Back then, the Emperor entrusted Malgador the Sigillite to create a new kind of Space Marine chapter, untainted by the flaws of the Primarchs, and built to battle chaos. There were 8 founding members, amongst these which were called the Titans, which were implanted with the Emperor's gene seed and trained in secret. On Titan, the Saturn's moon, during the preparation for the chapter, the entire moon was made to disappear from the solar system. That was the amount of secrecy. When Titan eventually emerged out from its psychic refuge, the Grey Knights stood ready, pure, disciplined, and unmatched, armed with the finest wargear the Imperium could ever provide, and wielding the power of the warp without falling to it. They were the secret blade of the Emperor, and amongst them was Janus, who was their first Supreme Grand Master, which is effectively their chapter master. So while still similar to the Codex-compliant chapters in organization, well, in a way, the Grey Knights have their own thing going on as well. Their chapter also has various ranks, variations within its hierarchical structure, spread across its 8 brotherhoods and 2 unique orders, which we are here now to discuss. So let's begin. So beginning with the brotherhoods, these of the Grey Knights are the equivalent of the bell companies of other chapters. There are 8 brotherhoods, each named for and descended from one of the original 8 founding titans. Each brotherhood includes about 100 battle brothers, well, not counting the command staff like the Brother Captain, the Champion Ancient, and the Grand Master. And they are composed of multiple squads like Strike Squads, Terminator Squads, and Purgation Squads, which are organized flexibly depending on mission needs. A brother of the Grey Knights would, like any other Astartes from any other chapter, start out small, starting as a recruit and then getting experience and getting inducted into the Brotherhood, and they would ascend in rank as time, experience, and vacancy demands it. While they do begin in the 8th Brotherhood, their ascendancy doesn't really follow the other chapters' flow, like from the 10th to the 9th, 8th, and so on, but rather a battle brother from the 8th gets his place in the other brotherhoods depending on his talents and aptitude. For example, the first brotherhood is mainly mechanized with the chapter's war machines and tech marines, so a battle brother who is more into tech would get there. The second brotherhood prides in fast reaction and assault. The third has authority over the librarians. The fourth has the prognosticators. The fifth trains the apothecaries. The sixth is famed for surgical strikes. The seventh works pretty closely with the Inquisition, and the eighth, of course, which takes care of the recruits. Now with that out of the way, let's begin with the lowest ranks and go on to the top. Here we begin with the ferrymen and the gatherers. At the bottom we have what are called the celestials of the chapter, which are the ferrymen and the gatherers. These are 2 rare and solemn roles within the secretive Grey Knights chapter, each serving distinct sacred functions outside the battlefield. The ferrymen are former Grey Knights, now clad in simple grey robes, helping the sepulchres to attend to the dead fields and the rituals of the chapter. What sets the ferrymen apart is that they are transformed into pariahs, into blanks, who possess no presence in the warp. These are nulls. This trait is rare and antithetical to the psychic nature of the Grey Knights, making the ferrymen truly unique. In contrast, the gatherers are aged or wounded Grey Knights whose time as frontline warriors has ended, but whose experiences and wisdom are far too valuable to waste. Rather than fighting demons directly, they turn their focus to the future of the chapter. stationed at the Chamber of Trials on Titan, gatherers are charged with the sacred task of identifying and selecting new aspirants from across the vastness of the Imperium to be inducted into the Grey Knights training regimen. So now we come to the fighting roles of the Grey Knights. We start here with the Bell Brothers. The Bell Brother is the foundation of the Grey Knights, fully initiated warrior mystics trained in psychic combat, martial perfection, and incorruptible will. Unlike Bell Brothers in other chapters, every Grey Knight here is a psyker, capable of wielding the powers of the warp to smite demons, to shield allies, and reinforce the mind. The Bell Brothers fight a spot of squads such as strike squads, purgation squads, terminator squads, etc. And they are equally adept at close combat and ranged warfare, armed with Nemesis Force weapons, storm bolters, and sanctified wargear to fight off the demons of the warp. Then there are the specialized Bell Brothers who, although haven't ascended in rank, holds a more important and unique role due to their fewer numbers. There are the Tech Marines who are specially trained in secret by only selected members of the Mechanicus on Titan. They maintain the chapter's sacred wargear, including the Nemesis Dreadknights, teleportation systems, and psychic reactive arms and armor. There are also the chaplains who differ greatly from their counterparts in other chapters. Instead of leading sermons or maintaining morale, they act more as spiritual purifiers, as guardians of the mind and soul, ensuring their brothers remain unsullied by the influence of chaos. While all Grey Knights are psykers, librarians of theirs are the most potent amongst them. They are the masters of the psychic arts who serve as battlefield conduits for the Emperor's will. And unique to the Grey Knights are the prognosticators, who are senior librarians, and seers who use complex rituals, relics, and psychic augury to detect demonic incursions across the Imperium. By reading warp echoes, they guide the chapter's deployments and preempt chaos before it can gain a foothold. Their visions can be cryptic, but their accuracy has saved countless worlds. There are also elite warriors of the Grey Knights who represent the apex of Astartes specialization, combat specialization, and amongst these elites are the Terminators, the Nemesis Dread Knight pilots, and the Dreadnoughts. While every Grey Knight can wield a Terminator suit due to their very advanced training, not all get to wield these suits in battle. The ones that do are always at the front line against the greater demons and the demonic legions, which means they are the elite. Then there is the Dread Knight, which is like a dreadnought but without the sarcophagus, and piloted by a living brother who is psychically attuned to the Walker mech suit. Equipped with devastating weapons like Nemesis Great Swords, heavy psych cannons, Gatling silencers, and Dreadfist, the Dread Knights can annihilate even the most massive demonic foes. These too require more veteran or experienced Bell Brothers to pilot. But unlike Dread Knights, the Grey Knight's Dreadnought houses a mortally wounded veteran whose body is broken and whose mind and soul still remain steadfast. Encased in a psychically sealed sarcophagus, the Dreadnought continues to serve in a form of sacred half-life, though immobile through its sacro-mechanical shell. Once activated, the Dreadnought is a walking relic of wisdom and fury, piloted by a half-dead Astartes within it. Now coming back to rankings, the Justicar is the first official rank above a Bell Brother within the Grey Knights chapter, and he serves as a role equivalent to that of a sergeant in other Space Marine chapters. What distinguishes a Justicar, aside from their authority, is the privilege of bearing personal heraldry, a mark of their individual legacy and service, on their armors. Amongst other duties, they not only lead in battle but they also act as psychic anchors for their entire squad. Those who have led for many years and survived countless campaigns under the Inquisition earn the title of Superior Justicar Knights, recognized for their unmatched experience and their steadfast purity in the face of the warp's corruption. Next we have the Brotherhood Ancient. So while similar in function to the company Ancients of other Space Marine chapters, they are far more than just standard bearers here. Wielding a Brotherhood banner steeped in psychic resonance, their very presence strengthens the will and the spirit of nearby Grey Knights. Their banner amplifies the psychic might of those who fight beneath it, acting both as a symbol of unity and a conduit of power, bolstering the effectiveness of their brothers in the crucible of battle. These warriors here fortify the minds of the Grey Knights against the horrors of the warp, and the Ancient, or the banner, serves as a conduit of their power. Above them are the Brotherhood Champions. These are the elite warriors of the Grey Knights, with each Brotherhood fielding only one single champion, chosen from amongst its most skilled swordsmen from the Paladins. These warriors dedicate themselves entirely to mastering the blade, forsaking all other forms of warfare to achieve peerless skill in close combat. Their primary role is to serve as the bodyguard to their brother captain, standing ever at his side in battle and ensuring his protection. In battle, the Brotherhood champions are typically armed with a Storm Bolter for range, but they always wield a Nemesis Force Sword, which is their primary weapon. So leading the Brotherhood is the Brother Captain, who is the senior commander within the Grey Knights, ranking just below a Grand Master. Each of them leads an entire Brotherhood, and in his role, the Brother Captain commands multiple squads of elite Grey Knights. What sets them apart is their experience, psychic discipline, and tactical brilliance. They are chosen from the ranks of the Paladins, the most elite warriors of their chapter, and often have deep personal ties to the Brotherhood they are appointed to command. This familiarity ensures that the captain understands not just the military organization, but also the rites, traditions, and inner workings of his own Brotherhood. In matters of battlefield strategy, the Brother Captain acts with near total authority, something that even Grand Masters typically don't interfere with, unless the stakes are truly dire. And speaking about the Grand Masters, these are the ones above the Brother Captains. There are only 8 Grand Masters in the entire chapter at any given time, which is a symbolic number tied to the original 8 founding Grey Knights handpicked by Malcador the Sigillite. A Grand Master holds the ultimate command over the Brotherhood, though in many cases he delegates operational authority to the Brotherhood's captain, while he is stuck with the chapter command. However, when a situation is deemed apocalyptic, like when demonic incursions, warp breach, or a chaos taint threatens on a scale beyond measure, then a Grand Master will descend personally onto the battlefield and lead his Brotherhood. In these moments, they become engines of destruction, paragons of psychic power, encased in masterwork Terminator armor, and armed with the finest force weapons the Imperium can produce and provide. Anyway, aside from the 8 Brotherhoods, the Grey Knights also operate 2 separate and unique orders, which are called the Purifiers under the Chamber of Purity and the Paladins under the Halls of Champions. The Purifiers are a sacred and secluded order within the Grey Knights, distinct from the 8 Brotherhoods. They are considered the incarnations of the chapter's spiritual purity, chosen only from amongst those whose souls are believed to be utterly incorruptible, even by the most rigorous standards of the Grey Knights themselves. Their presence is said to radiate a spiritual flame, painful to demons. Because of the incredibly strict selection process, their numbers are extremely limited, as only a few dozen exist at any given time. The Purifiers often lead the most spiritually perilous missions, where warp corruption is at its strongest. Their Battle Brother equivalents are called the Purifiers. Their Sergeant or Justica equivalent are called the Knights of the Flame, and their order is led by a Castellan champion, who is like a Grand Master, or maybe less like a Brother Captain, but not really a part of the chapter command. Then there are also the Paladins, who are the greatest warriors, the elites of the Grey Knights. To become a Paladin, the Grey Knight must complete 8 perilous quests, proving not only their martial excellence but also to prove that they have an exceptional character and an unshakable will. Once they are elevated, the Paladins would either serve in the squads of the Halls of the Champions, or would directly serve under a Grand Master as the Brotherhood champion, and for more veteran ones, when vacancy demands it, they would become the Brother Captain of a Brotherhood, or even as a Grand Master for a selected few. These Paladin Knights fight where the danger is greatest and often take on powerful lesser demons single-handedly, and as a squad they vanquish greater demons with ease, or even demon princes. Their names and deeds are always enshrined in the Halls of Champions on Titan, and they are revered as living legends. Like the Purifiers, the Paladins are the elite equivalents of the Battle Brothers, while the Paragon is the Justica equivalent, and they are led by a High Paladin who is effectively their Lord or Brother Captain, or maybe even a Grand Master of the Order. And at the apex of their organization is the Chapter Command. This is led by the Chapter Lord, or also known as the Supreme Grand Master, and also by the 8 Grand Masters, who each lead one of the chapter's brotherhoods. Together they form the Chapter Council, an ancient tradition dating back to the chapter's founding by Malcador the Sigillite and his 8 Knights Errant. Each Grand Master holds operational control or authority over a brotherhood, and has authority over specific aspects of the chapter such as fleet, armory, or librarians, but though these are shared and rotated as needed. The Supreme Grand Master has the final authority, but he can only be chosen by a unanimous approval from all 8 Grand Masters, thus preventing the rise of unworthy leaders. The first Supreme Grand Master was Janus, and the current one is Caldor Drago. And with that we reach the top of the command structure or the organization of the Grey Knights, and also with that we come to the end of the video. So if you like this one, then watch this other one too, the one in the end screens. And do hit that like button for support and smash the subscribe button to be a part of Legion Nutbug. Till the next time, take care, boys.